Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain Jay, and welcome to the Black Council Magic Arena Roundtable podcast. With me, as always, is my co-host, cohort, Numbskull.
What's
double
up, guys?
underscore. Numbskull currently rated number 5 worldwide, I believe, mythic rank, both in draft and constructed and draft.
No, I haven't done any
rank.
draft this season.
He also won the Grand Prix World Champion a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you saw that. That was pretty cool. It was good to see him up there. He looked different, but I knew it was him. How you doing? What are you really at, Numbskull? I know I always tease you every episode that you're...
I got to. I'm good, first of all, and I got to 146 last night after like falling to like about 600.
Ooh.
Just 'cause I had like a crappy evening. The one night.
Okay.
I lost a bunch in a row. But then I won like 6 in a row last night while I was streaming. So I got back to kind of where I like to be, but I'm gonna try to get back into the top 100 probably tonight.
Okay. All right.
What really is Tuesday.
Okay. I'm gonna try to get out of Platinum 3 tonight.
Plat 3, okay.
You know, this season
Yeah.
I'm just going for the jank, man. I've been doing triple color like crazy. I did a Mardu, I did a Jund, I did Artisan. I have not, I mean, this close to release, I am just not even trying to be competitive. So I'm just I'm having fun with it. So we'll see what happens.
I did like your Artisan deck.
Oh yeah, I liked it too. OBS crashed. Here's a fun backstory. OBS crashed in the middle of it. Well, not OBS. The whole computer crashed. Arena, as soon as Braids hit the board, my opponent plays Braids, and
Braids breaks the game.
And Braids literally sacrificed the whole game, and my entire computer crashed. And hard locked itself, so I had to manually restart. You know, press the restart button on the front, and all the footage that I had been recording, about an hour and a half of that, was all corrupted because it got abruptly cut. So OBS, for some reason, OBS was recording in MP4, which I don't know why. I usually do it in MKV, and it's very, very difficult to recover that. So I ended up having to go back and do more footage, and ended up being a short video. So thanks OBS and thanks Braids for canceling all that footage for me. But welcome everybody. That's enough from us. Let me say we're up at 12 patrons right now. Magic Studios, Lord Gypticus, Satanosaurus, Ghastly Cassius, Nickel Nuts. Of course, we have H-Man, Ulfveer, Dantech, Clever Sounds, Blood Chief, and of course, Paradabo. Of course, Magic Studios is Lady Paradabo. We are having a good time, personally, in the patron Discord. We have a patron-only Discord that if you become a patron for as little as $1 a month, that's as little as you want to give to become a patron of the Black Council podcast, you officially become a council member. You get exclusive access to our patron Discord. We just added an exclusive super secret deck area, which was actually suggested to us by, I think, who was it? I think Max Damage 9999 suggested that we have a deck area, and he was a special guest on our.
He's posting decks in there like literally right now as we speak.
Oh yeah, he
Nice.
So any of our previous members automatically get a membership to the Black Council Discord. So if there's a previous special guest, so Max Damage is obviously invited to our Discord. So any of our other guests are going to be there. So you're going to get access to, you know, talk to them in a more specific environment that's not so cluttered. And we'd love to have you. You get input on what we're going to do next. You get exclusive early access to the videos, and you keep us alive here with our little podcast adventure that we're having. And yeah, I'd really like for you to join the patron and support us and become a member today. But interestingly, today we've set out a we've set out basically what we want to do from here on out, which is we have kind of a schedule, a plan of how we're going to do the next month and how we're pretty much going to do every month. And what that is going to entail is previews, deck builds, special guests, lore videos, everything else like that. It's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be great stuff. And so this week, obviously, with the close coming release of Brothers War, we are going to do our top 10 asterisk, probably 11 favorite cards coming out in the new set. And Numbskull and I both picked a card, 5 cards each, and one that we agreed is the master card, the one card to rule them all. And we're going to showcase them, talk about them, why we think that they could shake up the meta, why we think they're useful, and ultimately why we think they're really worth it. And I think they're going to be the cards to watch. We hit a couple of them on the head on our last preview. I think we did a pretty good job. So we'll see if we can get ahead of the curve here with our new predictions of what we think the best cards coming up are.
And don't forget, when we do this, these are the cards that like jump out to us based on how we play Magic, which other people might not be excited about them. There might be other types of cards that people appreciate more. So this isn't like an end all be all. Oh, these are the only good cards. We could be wrong about all of them. We could be right about most to all of them, some of them, whatever. But these are the ones that based on how Jay and I play the game, are good, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, and I think awesome, I think that is an important distinction. These are what we think are the best cards coming out, not the objective best cards coming out, period.
Exactly.
We are not control players. If you're looking for the best control cards popping up, we're probably not the place to go for that, because we don't like Azorius and we really don't like blue.
Right.
But so you're going to see a lot of black cards here, which I think you're in the right spot. If you already know us, if you know me and you know Numbskull, you know us. You pretty much know that we're going to pick some black cards. So
that's our jam.
That's what we do. That's what we like, and that's what we do. So
that's what the Black Council does.
That's what the Black Council, exactly, man. We're all about. If this is right in our name, this is not the place where you go to look at control players. Go to some other podcasts, some Magic the Gathering podcast about playing control. It's called Control Freaks, and it's run by 2 BDSM enthusiast Magic card players. I just made that up. That's not real. Don't Google it.
Oh, I was going to ask if that was real. Not because I was going to go to it, but I was like, it's actually like a good name.
Control Freaks? Yeah, I know. That would be Sonio's and CGB's podcast, which would be funny because they'd have Sonio on it and he just wouldn't talk the whole time, but they'd still say he's there. Oh yeah, he's right here. He's sitting at he's here. He's here with
right here. And then you just see his computer. He's just like clicking buttons.
Yeah, yeah. He's just just has a picture of who did he have on Teferi? It's just a static image of Teferi. What's his name? What's that guy from The Boys? Black Noir. He's just completely silent the whole time.
Oh, Black Noir, yeah. Just never says anything.
Never says anything, but he's still there. So that'll be, guys. If you guys do start a podcast called Control Freaks, we just want 10%. Okay. Hell, we'll even take just a shout out to ours. I mean that'll do it just there too.
But
anyways,
what a great name, Jay.
Control Freaks.
Yeah, what a great name.
Yeah, I'm good at naming stuff. So. I've always had a knack for it. All right, so top 10, meaning that me and Numbskull are each going to get 5, and then the Ultra card.
Yes.
I want Numbskull to go first. I want him to show us. I'll pop the cards up on the screen. I want him to talk about. His first card and what he thinks is going to be a shakeup. What is he like? What is it coming at the number 5 spot?
Number 5 spot. And I guess. It's number 5 in the sense of I don't know how much I will use it. Well, I might use it. But I think it's going to be really good. It's just like, and it might be better than like for the game, better than number 5, but just probably number 5 in terms of like what I would play. You know, we're gonna have Mirel, Shield of Argive. That's a 4 mana, 3 colorless, 1 white. She's a legendary. I believe it's a woman. Legendary human soldier. It is a mythic, and her text says, during your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Whenever Mirel, Shield of Argive, attacks, create X/1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control. So that's a lot. That's a huge advantage. It just makes it like, you know, when it's your turn, it's really going down. You know, you get to go wide. Your opponent essentially cannot interact. There might be like a few ways to get around it. Like I know some of the planeswalkers say you can like activate the planeswalker abilities during your opponent's turn, so that might be like some kind of.
And I think the channel abilities of the legendary lands don't count either because they're discard abilities.
Yeah. So it looks like channel abilities are going to be a thing. So you'll have like a Ganjo and Otawara, and then Boseiju, and then Sokenzan to worry about. Yeah, someone could do a Takanuma, but it's not actually interacting with you. It's more them interacting with their own deck and graveyard. So it doesn't immediately affect you. But yeah, so this card really shuts down. It's like a kind of lockout. The phrase I believe I've previously heard was like mono white prison. So basically that type of thing going on. Could be a good sideboard card if your opponent is interacting a lot. People might just put it in the main deck just for the fact of her making all the soldiers as the game goes along. That could be a thing too. So we'll get in there and we'll see. I think she's going to be a solid card, and I think that it really helps with that kind of go wide idea. You know what I mean? And then you start to get, you know, there's anthems, there's wedding announcement, things like that. It could make a mono white go wide kind of mid-rangey thing be incredibly effective. So I think it's really gonna, you know, buff things like that, and I think it's gonna encourage other decks that even just want to splash white to go wide as well. So I think it's pretty legit. If nothing else, it's like kind of a good lockout card for the opponent as well.
Yeah, I mean, an amazing card at white control, especially when you're talking. Soldiers are so huge right now. We have to talk about that. Just in general, soldiers are they're going big. I mean, it's called Brothers War, so I can kind of tell why they said, okay, well, it's going to be soldiers, it's going to be going over the top, it's going to be a lot of stuff like that. So just soldier cards and that ability, I mean, it's kind of just anti-blue, anti-red tech, which is always nice to have because they're always interfering with whatever you want to do. So definitely a solid card. One to watch. I think that's going to see a lot of main board play. I think that's going to be, I think probably it's only not saving grace is the fact that it is, I think it's a 4-drop. And
it is.
Man, a 4-drop in the current game might as well be like a 10-drop. Like, in my opinion, like a 4-drop, if you're on the draw and you have a 4-drop, you know, it's just, it's a tough one. It's a little rough, but still pretty solid. I mean,
feels really, like maybe that's like the white answer to Shouldered.
I think so. Yeah.
So pretty good for that purpose, and it kind of rounds out that upper mid range of white, which I think is important because I don't think there was a good 4-drop white creature.
No.
Not like well,
Seraph Paragon,
but Paragon, the Archangel, those are good. But now you're talking about kind of maybe I have to do Angels or I have to do a different kind of deck. Maybe in terms of the actual go wide, there wasn't a good 4-drop that it is as interactive or removing of interaction as Miro, you know.
Yeah. It's going to be blue is going to be scared to death of that, and I think that that's a good thing.
It looks like off some of the cards, they're encouraging blue-white to go wide. So we're gonna.
Yeah, Azorius Soldiers is really, that's like the snap together. That's like the pre-con deck that they're basically pushing is this kind of Azorius Soldiers.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see. I mean, if you're gonna do the Azorius thing, and maybe you don't run like you play Thalia in there, and then you're not running a bunch of counter spells. Maybe I wouldn't mind playing against that.
Yeah, yeah, not so bad.
What do you got for your number 5 slot?
So for my number 5 slot, I'm also gonna go with I'm gonna go with another quote unquote white card. It's actually an artifact, but we're also introducing the new thing of prototype, which is a good way to introduce prototype. And that's gonna be the Steel Seraph, which I really like. And it's an angel, which I was hoping we'd get a little bit more angel support because we're almost there on a lot of angel stuff. So it's a bit of an odd card. It's a 6-drop that is a 5/4 flying angel, which doesn't sound great, but it has the ability at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains your choice of flying, vigilance, or lifelink until the end of turn. So it kind of gives any card that ability. 5/4 flying that gives that ability, that's okay. I mean, it's not fantastic, but what I really like about it is its prototype ability, where it's only 2 white and 1, and it has all the previously mentioned abilities, except it's only a 3/3. So, I mean, a 3/3 flying with any combination of flying, lifelink, or vigilance. It already has flying and gives somebody else flying. It can give itself lifelink or vigilance, any other kind of thing like that. As a 3-drop, pretty solid for life gain decks. Pretty solid for, I mean, you got to figure, if you combine this with something like what's that werewolf that gives everybody haste? Damn, it's went right out of my head. If you put a Boros in there and you do like not Moonrager Brute, what is that?
Oh, you mean Stormseeker?
Stormseeker, there we go. You've got the option now of anything you put down can automatically get +2 haste and lifelink or vigilance or flying. So this is kind of one of those accelerator cards that just gives value to other cards once it's down on the board. Again, it has that flexibility of mid-game, drop it as a 3/3 flying. Late game, really in the late game, you're only adding +2 and +2 power and +1 toughness. That's the only additional bonus of playing it colorless. So, I mean, looking at this as a mono white card is solid. You already have things like Jada, Font of Hope, which is going to pump up all angels. You add a white mana that can be used to cast angel cards, and any other angels coming into play get a 1/1 counter on it. So you figure rounding out some mono white life gain angel decks, pretty solid. I mean, I as a rare, I think it could really, it does fill a nice 3 spot for flying, for vigilance. It can mix nice with Selesnya. I think it could be perfectly fine in Selesnya. I think it'd be fine in Boros. I think it actually probably finds a better home in Boros than anywhere else.
Boros and Mardu.
Yeah, Boros and Mardu. Because, again, when you're pairing it with something that's going to accelerate, when you're pairing it with anything that's going to go down range, gaining that life, pushing it on there, I think we could see a lot of play with Steel Seraph. The flexibility is useful. And I'm a big tribal player, and I love Angel Tribal. I just did the Mardu Angels, which was very good. And I could definitely see this being kind of a regular around. I'm definitely going to play it. So I do like this one. And I do like the prototype ability. I think that early game, late game flexibility is useful. Also, whenever they print 2 versions of a card or 2 spells on a card, it's always way OP, way OP than they imagine. The same thing happened with, what's that thing called? Story or Adventure. This feels like,
the Adventure card.
Yeah, this feels like Adventure Light, because you're basically giving a card in your hand 2 different cards. You've got the early one and the late one, the powerful one and the weak one. You're basically holding 2 cards in your hand all the time when you're running prototype. So potentially a lot of power.
Modality.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to keep my eye on that one. I'm definitely going to play it. That's on my craft list for sure.
I like it. So that means that as a prototype, actually, in as a 3/3, it still has flying. Then, correct?
Yeah, it has all the abilities.
It's almost, in terms of value, seems like it's more worth it to just cast it for 3, doesn't it?
It is. It's basically more worth it to cast it for 3. I don't even ever see myself casting it 6 unless I really needed to get that extra kill power. I guess the idea is that if you want to run that in an artifact deck or in a deck that's off color, you can. Like, you could run it in a mono black deck if you wanted it, but ultimately, why would you? You know, it's just so much more useful in that ability.
And you're getting it like a turn sooner in an angel deck with Jada, theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think doing it for 3 is fine. And I think that, you know, this could be, the way you use it is you kind of want to cast this after you already have your board set up.
Yeah.
So then once the creature the big creature you just dropped last turn, maybe you did your double kicker on your Archangel, and now it's a 3/4, whatever. Or maybe it's like a 5/6 because there's other angels out and Jada's out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now you're going to give it vigilance, you know what I mean, whatever, and you're going to gain, now you can attack and gain 5 and block and gain 5, and that becomes incredibly effective, you know. So kind of almost like the that Planeswalker. Why do I forget her name right now?
Which one? There's a lot.
Elspeth.
Oh yeah. Kind of like Elspeth.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like the Elspeth plus ability.
Yeah.
But just, it's also a body, and you can do it for 3 mana.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. And then if you actually have Elspeth.
And if you actually have Elspeth, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you could run an angel deck with Elspeth. You know, it kind of snaps together real nicely there. So I think the ability to give random creatures flying is just going to be like,
yeah,
you know,
because now you have the option of, you don't even have to actually run all angels.
No,
because the reason a lot of times you ran all angels was because of flying,
mm-hmm.
or maybe you have some other angels that don't fly, because that's a thing sometimes too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But what I want to know is if, and I think that the answer is no, but if you -3 Elspeth, you can't get this as a prototype. I don't think so.
Why not?
Because the actual mana value of the card is 6.
Oh yeah.
Prototype is an alternate casting.
Yeah, it's an alternate casting cost. Yeah, it won't come out.
It would be crazy if it worked like that, though.
Oh, that'd be a whole other. Yeah, that'd be a whole other
ridiculous. Like, that would actually be
pack of worms there.
Unreasonable.
Yeah, if it was reversed. Yeah, I think it's an alternate casting cost.
Yeah,
prototype is a listed ability. Yeah, on there. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that it's yeah, it doesn't just let you do that. Period. It's normal as it's 6. You know,
the regular mana value itself.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I mean that's a thing. But yeah, I mean, Steel Seraph, sweet card, and I also see this in Alchemy.
Oh, definitely.
With Rezug, if you manage to get rid of this, it's just an artifact that basically has that bottom text, and I believe you could still cast it for 3 with Prototype.
Yeah.
So you prototype this with Rezug, and now you're given whatever Flying, Vigilance, or Lifelink, and that's just like a static ability that you kind of have every turn, and it doesn't even have to be a body, which is okay. Because I'd still pay 3 mana for a card that says give X every combat.
Yeah.
Or my combat, at least, you know.
That works.
So it's pretty sweet.
I like it. I it's low down on the list because I don't think it's earth shattering, but it's still good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's your number 4 pick, Num?
Number 4. So we're gonna go with Corrupt. I'll just start there. And you know, this is like really on brand for us here. And apparently, I was told when I started freaking out about this
reprint
that this is actually a reprint. I didn't know that.
Very old card.
Yeah, I was unaware that it's a reprint, which I think is sweet. One of my things here, and also this is an uncommon, which is awesome. Do you remember if it was an uncommon when it was originally printed, Jay?
I believe it was.
Okay, because I know that they put other cards in this set as reprints, and they were rares. Some of them were rares previously, and they reprinted them as uncommons, believe it or not. But anyway, Corrupt is great, and the reason it's not higher is because of the cost. It does cost 6. And I don't know if at 6 mana it's actually better than Invoke. It's nice, and it could win you a game. Invoke could too, you know. But yeah. So what it says is it's 5 colorless and 1 black. It is a sorcery, uncommon. Corrupt deals damage to any target equal to the number of swamps you control. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. So right off the bat, that's kind of the style that Jay and I run.
Gain and drain, baby.
We love it.
Gain and drain.
I like that they led with the whole deal damage. It allows you to go from just hitting an opponent to taking out a creature, a planeswalker, what have you, you know. And that could lead to you know, better use and more you know, like better options for what this card can do. So I'm happy about it. I think it's going to be great. I'm going to try it. I might do it in Explorer even. And see what I can do there.
Get Vito involved.
Vito and Gary,
double,
I was thinking.
It's a double bang.
Yeah, so do some like mono black devotion. You cast Gary on 5, and then you do Corrupt on 6. And then hopefully Vito's already out.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty valuable. Maybe you have Underworld Dreams out too, you know.
Ooh.
Who knows? So just a little mono black devotion. I feel like that could really do something. Not to mention, in actual Pioneer, you have Nykthos, which says to add mana value of a given color equal to your devotion to said color. So actual Pioneer, you could cast this by tapping 1 land theoretically.
Okay.
So I think in Pioneer that this could actually see a lot of play, and you know, it's an uncommon. It's an easy add. It's not costly, you know, but it makes your mono black devotion in Pioneer that much better. And if we get Nykthos in Explorer on Arena, then mono black devotion is immediately in the conversation for one of the better decks in the format.
Yes, and a little bit of history on Corrupt, if I may. Urza Saga is when this card came out, and it actually was a common, believe it or not. They actually upped its...
Oh, wow, okay.
I own several of these.
Really?
I used to play this in mono black, yes. This was the original. It was Yawgmoth reaching out psychically and reaching out psychically and touching Urza. So it's actually a callback to when Urza actually was dealing with Phyrexia, I believe post Brothers War. Well, during Brothers War, post Brothers War, I don't remember. The timelines are so crazy, but yeah. Yes, I was playing during Urza. So Urza's block is when I actually started getting good at Magic, and wasn't just playing the biggest creature I could. And it is it's back then. I mean, you only had swamps. Like you'd run this in Nightmare, which Nightmare, of course, had the power and toughness equal to the swamps you had. So it was just a matter of trying to pump as many swamp out as you could onto the board. So very fun card. And like I said, it has such good combo ability with Vito, with other stuff. The interesting thing about it, more than you know, you said, is it worth more paying that extra 1 mana for instead of something like Invoke? The good news is that they're not overlapping on their drops, so you can have a 5-drop and a 6-drop, especially if you're running ramp.
That's true. It's very true.
And the one thing that I do like Corrupt more than Invoke is that life gain can save you. It can buy you 1 more turn to get, if you're about to die and you just say, okay, well, I'm gonna bang him, boom, I'm gonna hit 6, I'm gonna gain 6, I'm in it 1 more time. I just, you know, it might give you the chance to cast that extra Invoke, which is good.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It could definitely buy you time where Invoke could buy you time based on the removal, but if your life total is too low, then your life total is too low, and sometimes it doesn't always get you back to where you need to be to stabilize properly.
Very good.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, I think if you're playing 6 drops in the deck, going, Invoke on 5, Corrupt on 6 is a hell of a turn 5 and turn 6 to resolve both of those spells, you know. So yeah, it's awesome, especially if you can ramp into it in any way. Which, you know, someone who plays a lot of mono black in Alchemy, who could still play Shambling Ghast and Deadly Dispute, might be able to resolve these like a turn or two earlier. Who knows?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can ramp to it. Back in my day, we used to play Dark Ritual, and that's what would get us to that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I don't even know what the format. I think it's can you play Dark Ritual in Modern? I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't know
I think
what the
maybe
hell.
only like Legacy. So I don't know. You could do like a play 2 Dark Rituals and cast Corrupt or something. I don't know.
Turn 4 Corrupt used to be something I remember being able to do.
Okay.
You know, if I'm talking really good black combos from way back in the day, I'd play turn 4. I'd play Priest of Gix. Priest of Gix made also was 5. It was 1 black and 2, and it made 5 black mana. And then I'd use one of those black mana to cast Dark Ritual again. So it was basically you got Priest of Gix for free, and then you play black Dark Ritual on top of that, and then play Corrupt on top of that. So you could pull off some crazy combos with it. So pretty good. I'd like to see if it finds a place nestled into the meta nicely. We'll have to see. My number 4 spot, if we can continue with black here, is going to be Razor Lash Transmogrant. So there's a sure as a name.
I saw that.
There sure is a name. Listen, man, you know I'm the Zombie King. Everybody knows this. I'm a Master Necromancer from way back in the day. Arc Master Necromancer, if you want to get down to it. With Ratadrabic giving zombies in the play, just charging up zombie decks. I think zombie decks are going to have a comeback here. This is a 2-drop, 3/1. It can't block. I don't care. Most of my zombos can't block anyways because they're all whatchamacallit. What's that thing called? Decayed. The amazing thing about this is that it can return from the graveyard to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter of it. Not tapped, by the way. I know that wizards love to say it can return to the battlefield tapped. No. It just returns from the battlefield with a 1/1 counter. 2 black and 4. Very expensive, but we give you an out here.
Yeah.
This ability costs 4 less to activate if an opponent controls 4 or more non-basic lands. And what is everybody running right now? They're running non-basic lands. Everyone wants to get on Domain. This is going to eat you alive if you're running Domain decks because the ability to bring it back for 2 black mana for a 1/1, you're going to need to exile it to get rid of it permanently. Because every time it's going to get more and more powerful. I know it can't block, but if I'm zombieing, I'm going to slam it in again and again and again and again. I'm going to push it in. So as a sacrifice fodder, really good. As just an aggressive guy, really good. I think this could stack really nicely with that high power. I think it could stack really nicely with something like Kodama the West Tree. You could run a Golgari Reanimator with this guy and really put a lot of damage down range, trampling. You got a few build options here. I'd like to see more of this. I'd like to see zombies make a comeback. You know, I always love the Zombo decks, but I'm definitely going to be putting this in my zombie deck, personally.
I think it's sweet. Also, notably the ability there, reduced cost or not, is an instant speed ability. So
yeah,
can be done on your opponent's turn. Which
exactly.
Is pretty sweet.
And like I said, it doesn't come in tapped. It just immediately on there.
Just back, yeah. So it's almost like you could, you know, your opponent plays a Graveyard Trespasser or what was it, Corpse Appraiser?
Yeah.
And they try to, you know, remove that, particularly from the graveyard. Okay, I got my 2 black mana up, and you got all these dual lands and pain lands and this and that. I'm just gonna do it for 2 mana and just bring it back in response.
Yeah,
you know?
and don't forget the Nuka Pen of Triomes.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess those
are non-basic. Even though they have basic lands in them, they're still non-basic.
Yeah, they're technically just lands. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So yeah, that's phenomenal. So even with the Triomes, yeah, that's really good. And I know they're adding other lands themselves in this set that are going to be enticing to run.
Yeah.
So you're only adding to the pool of non-basics that you're going to see available and used by an opponent. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. It gives me kind of what's the other one? Is that Nightclave Nightshade or whatever? That one?
Oh yeah. Night.
The 3/1 that can't block and it has like landfall or whatever.
I can't remember. Oh yeah.
Skyclave Shade.
Skyclave Shade. Yeah, Skyclave Shade. Yeah, very similar.
Similar to that.
Yeah.
You know. I like the reduced cost on that with bringing it back with a counter, and it looks like it. And it doesn't say notably, like sometimes they say like, oh, if it would die, exile it after you activate it.
It just can perpetually come back. Yeah,
just keep spamming that, dude. That's pretty sweet.
And I think that probably one of the sneakiest things you can do is when somebody tries to hit you with something akin to a sacrifice play, meaning that you're gonna have to sacrifice a creature like a Liliana.
Bring it back.
Bring it back immediately and sack it again, and they're gonna.
That. Yeah, that's cool.
They're probably not paying close attention to your graveyard. You know that it's there because it's gonna be floating in the field, and you're gonna be aware of it.
Yeah. I like that. That gives you some options. It's kind of like when they say sacrifice a creature and then you crew your bank buster.
Exactly.
Sack that instead of your trespasser, or instead of whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pretty sweet. I definitely like that.
Yeah, I think it could be fun, and especially with the zombies being what it are, I think we could see some action on it.
Why not? Run it with Headless Rider.
There you go.
You'll never get rid of this damn thing.
You'll know. You never get rid of it. Keep bringing it back and sacrificing it over and over again. Boom.
Yeah, I love that.
So what do you got for your 3 spot?
Number 3. We're gonna be changing up the removal game, basically. I don't want to say changing it up, but like we're giving you that option to not have to run Infernal Grasp every time you want to get rid of a creature. We're gonna put a caveat to it, but we're gonna make it the same cost. We're gonna make it an uncommon as well. 1 white or 1 colorless, and 1 black. Let's go for the Throat. Destroy target non-artifact creature instant speed. Basically the same thing as Infernal Grasp, but swap lose 2 life for non-artifact. So you limit yourself, but you also don't force yourself to lose life upon the removal. This could be that maybe it's a really good sideboard card if your opponent is not running artifact creatures and just wants to go wide. It's highly effective for that purpose. So you could actually just like have Infernal Grasps and then have go for the Throat in your sideboard, and then you know what I mean, you played game 1, especially for me as I play a lot of best of 3. You play game 1. Well, the opponent didn't play any artifact creatures. I might as well stop taxing myself, and for the same amount of mana and the same speed, I might as well just play go for the Throat and not lose 2 life every time I need to get rid of something. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but 3 resolved Infernal Grasps is you actually paying 30% of your life total, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So I know two doesn't seem like a lot, but they add up when you get to that 3rd one, that 4th one.
Yeah.
And then you're getting hit by creatures, and all of a sudden now you're pretty far behind. Now you're down like 16 to 9 or to 8 or whatever. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, where'd my life total go?
Yeah.
And this could kind of maybe help keep you in the game a little better against some of these aggro decks, like maybe the mono red. If they're not running artifacts, well, let's take Infernal Grasp out of the equation. Let's bring in Go for the Throat. Let's see if it maybe buys us 1 more turn against mono red. And we can stabilize, we can wipe the board, we get enough mana to play our board wipe, this and that. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's gonna help out with situations where not every deck that you play, and at least like I don't want to say more often than not, because I don't know what's gonna happen after all this stuff comes out. But it's gonna be I think it's gonna be like probably no more than 50-50. I can get through at least half my games without seeing artifact creatures. Or if I do see an artifact creature, it's not that serious to where I have to Infernal Grasp it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is for your Sholdred, your Mural that I was talking about. This is for Braids, those creatures, things of that nature. you know, your your other stuff. Radadrobic, yeah, I know he has ward, but you might as well not make yourself lose 2 life to kill it. You know,
Yep.
take out a Fable. You know what I mean? You don't need to lose 2 life to take out a Fable now. Things like that. So I think that's going to give you the options and then the you know, versatility that your deck needs to be a little bit more transformative in the sideboard, and make sure that you're not working against the grain if you don't have to be.
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate it, and it's an uncommon, so it gets you the same. Like, it's probably not going to cost much money. If you get it in paper, it's going to be cheap. You know.
Yeah. And I think that I have been burned by. I felt the bite of Infernal Grasp a few times where I've been like, oh, I'm going to be too low if I use it. And I think that I think they're kind of expecting, you know, it's probably not great in draft because there's so many artifacts that it's not too useful. But I think in standard and alchemy, it's going to be perfectly fine. You're just not running into that many artifacts for it to be that big of a downside, you know?
Exactly. And, you know, like Explorer, a lot of the sideboards in Explorer, especially with like Rakdos and Mono Black, what you're doing is you're switching. A lot of times in the sideboard, you're switching your removal based on the creatures that you're seeing. So some say, you know, destroy target creature with mana value 4 or more. And you may have that in your main deck, but then but that might be 2 mana and an instant speed and an uncommon as well. But now you're like, I think I want to be more. They don't have any artifact creatures. I want to be a little bit more versatile. I'm going to bring in Go for the Throat, and it's just going to give you so many more options without having to tax your life total. So it's good in many formats. You're right though. Draft might be a little iffy because they're really bringing out the artifacts here. So it might be a lot of situations where this is a dead card in draft, at least.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, removal's always something or other. It's
essential.
It's essential. You're gonna need removal. Yeah.
What do you got for number 3?
Number 3, I am gonna be going with an obvious one on this one, and I'm pretty excited about seeing Monastery Swiftspear. I think that this is an obvious one that people are doing. This is a reprint too. It's a Prowess Monk. 1 red, 1/2 haste and prowess. What does that mean? Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 to the end of turn. The only thing it's missing is trample, and we can slap that on there with an instant.
Okay.
As far as red goes, Monastery Swiftspear. All the red players were freaking out that this one's coming back. Love this guy.
I think people who play many formats were happy about this. Standard.
Oh yeah.
Historic. All of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. It's very, very good. It's a solid card. I mean, it's going to be played. It's gonna be put in red. It's gonna be put in Izzet. I think that you could put anything that's got red in this. I think this is gonna be an auto include. The fact that it's going to be also running at a solid 1-drop and a uncommon. I mean, like it's so good. Like the value. When we talk about value,
turn 1.
When we talk about value, we got to talk about just. I know its worst enemy is gonna be what's that one? Cut down. If you're running it correctly, if you're running in Golgari, give it a Tamio Safekeeping. If you're running it in Izzet, give it a counter spell or a slip out the back. I mean, there's so many different ways to keep it protected, but
or you just bait it out early.
So you bait it out early. Run it in Rakdos and revive it. You know what I mean? So just a solid card to just build a whole concept over. Really on the aggro and the hasty stuff. I love the red hasty boys. 2 seasons in a row, I've actually gotten to Mythic with mono red as opposed to mono black. Believe it or not. I know I'm an apostate. But for some reason, when I was running black, everyone was countering me. I think the anti-black meta just ramped up. So mono red has been kind of my go-to for ranking. So I'm happy to see this one. And I think a lot of people are too. I think it's absolutely, you're going to need it for uncommon artisan build decks, cheap decks. I mean, it's just a good card, man.
There's what is it? Boros Heroic, I think is a thing in Historic and Explorers. That's going to be pretty sweet. There's a lot of inexpensive spells that you can run with this, and a lot of, how do I say it? They're all like, a lot of them are like commons and uncommons, and they just like buff creatures. And the idea is you just make this thing huge.
Yeah.
And you know, you see your opponent tapped out. Think of like the Illuminator Virtuoso, kind of like that, but like even more aggressive, if you will. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome, sweet red card. I don't know if mono red needed to be any stronger, but here we are.
I mean, compared to what blue's getting, I don't think that they're outclassed.
So, well, yeah. I think it's solid, and I think it. I don't know if it's. I don't know where it sees more play, standard or other formats, but I'm sure it would be used in standard.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna use it in alchemy. Believe that.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
No matter how much my viewers tell me they hate alchemy and won't watch it, I'm still gonna do it. I'm an unashamed.
Turn 1 Kumano, turn 2 Swift Spear, and
oh yeah, boom.
You know,
yeah, turn 2 Swift Spear, and then throw something that's hasty on it, or just throw damage downrange or anything like that. Yeah, it comes into the 1/1 on it. Then it's even more powerful. So
yeah. And if you make it any stronger, then they can't do cut down on it either.
Exactly.
So that's effective also.
Yeah, you can actually counter cut down by playing an instant or sorcery and jumping it up to its
if it's higher than 5.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's a 2/3, make it a 3/4, and boom, it won't work anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because any spell, whether it targets that or not, triggers prowess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And not to mention, they have that cut down, and you're like, man, do I want to use my cut down on this monastery and let it get out of hand? Or do I want to use it on that Kumano when it flips so that all my creatures don't get exiled when they burn them all out?
Mm-hmm.
You definitely force your opponent to make early decisions that will have a lot of influence over how the game will go.
It's going to play out from there, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, and I think that's something that, I mean, yeah, when you're dealing with all this aggressiveness, you do have to make the decisions, but I think that forces you to make decisions in a way that mono red doesn't usually.
Mm-hmm. Tactical.
Yeah, it forces you to be a little more tactical than mono red. You know, mono red, we just think of like turn everything sideways, but you can kind of play a little bit of a mind game with the opponent now within mono red and you know, play your own chess match rather than just, you know, turn stuff sideways. So I think it's good. It brings another element to mono red for sure.
For sure. What do you got in your coveted number 2 spot?
Now, right?
Number 2 spot, yes.
All right. I think this is just going to be, and I don't play a lot of green, but this is a green card. And one, I love the frickin', there's koala bears or like just like white bears or like, I don't know, but it's Fade from History.
Okay.
2 colorless and 2 green, and it's just I get it. You know, green is the color of like naturalize for like destroying artifacts and enchantments. It's a sorcery speed. It's 4 mana. It is a rare. Each player who controls an artifact or enchantment creates a 2/2 green bear creature token. So it's not artifact or enchantment. So you don't get one for each. You just get one, period. So it's not like I'm giving you a bear for every artifact you control. I get a bear, you get a bear. That's it.
Yeah.
And then we destroy all the artifacts and the enchantments. They're gone.
Ooh.
And I think it's great. We always talked about green never had a board wipe. Now this isn't a board wipe, but it kind of is. But it's kind of not. But it kind of is because there's just and I think it is a sideboard card. But there are situations where this is just ridiculous. You're also talking about within green, you know, you want to do mono green aggro. Jay, I know you still see the Selesnya enchantment.
Oh, Selesnya enchantment is still solid. It's still meta. Yeah.
You want them to go away? Here's your card. There you go.
Yeah. No,
put it in your main deck if you're still seeing that matchup.
For that alone, yeah. Selesnya enchantments, according to AetherHub right now, is 10% of the meta.
That's a fair enough amount to consider putting this in it as a main deck card.
For sure.
and then you have we're just gonna have all the effective artifacts from the set coming, and it seems like they're adding versatility enough to these artifacts with like prototype casting costs and unearth costs, the pay X costs on some of these guys where you can put whatever color mana you want into them to make them do extra stuff. Kind of kicker, kind of not. With all that, all those artifacts, it's not out of the question to say that, like, even just like me as a mono black player, I plan to add 1 or 2 of these artifacts to my deck maybe and try them.
Yeah. So
you're gonna be dealing with my artifacts. You're playing an Anvil deck. Okay, well, goodbye.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really interesting. And I think that this card, I love that they put the answer to all that stuff within green. I think that was
a clever trick.
That was something. You know what I mean? Yeah, they didn't make it like an Orzhov card. They didn't make it like a Rakdos card. They said, no, this is green, which was the original color of Naturalize.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate that. And I think that this card can swing a game. And I think the reason that it has to be up here so high is because this card alone, I believe, can bring back mono green or even just Gruul into the equation of, hey, we're here too, and you have to take us seriously.
I think in Golgari, I think if you load the graveyard and start eating the graveyard or resurrecting, I think this is a decent Golgari ad too.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I think it can work in Selesnya. I mean anything that wants to go with green, I don't think it's out of the question for you to play this card. So it is a hell of a card.
Yeah,
I think.
Very good. No, I absolutely. I think that we needed something like this. We needed to see something like this. And the color pie for green, this is just on the limit. Doesn't normally have board wipes, but I guess when you're limiting it to artifacts and enchantments, I'll let you get away with this one, Mark Rosewater.
It has been known to remove some artifacts and enchantments.
Yeah.
Never all, but this is a war.
And a 2/2 bear is so negligible. Like, it's just, doesn't matter, you know?
I love it.
All right.
I know I'm going to see somebody, they're in top deck mode and they have like a random artifact that's not doing it. Like they have like a treasure token. Other opponent has a clear board. You have a clear board other than your treasure token. You cast this and you get a bear, and and then the opponent doesn't get a bear, and that bear that you get is what wins you the game.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna see it somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
We're gonna see somebody cast this and just they get a bear when the opponent doesn't, and use that to kill the opponent. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that also with Power Stones being a thing, I think that this
get rid of all those.
Get rid of all your Power Stones too.
Yeah.
Is going to be
I wasn't even
thinking
about that,
punishing.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty awesome.
So I'm looking at my number 2 right now, and I'm actually going back to white, believe it or not. And I am talking about In the Trenches.
I do like
trenches.
That. Yes.
I think that when we're talking about something like what's that one called? Wedding invitation.
Wedding announcement, yeah.
Wedding announcement, and giving 1/1 to everything. This is just instant. So it's just one of your rally cards, kind of like Rally or Rally the Ranks, or just Glorious Anthem. It's basically a better Glorious Anthem. 2 white and 1/1 to everything. The fact that it's white, when you're talking about these go white decks, white tokens, anything like that, 1/1 to everything. Combine this with Wedding Announcement and stuff like that, pumping up everything in Selesnya. It is unbelievably good. It's just a solid card on a 3-drop to really start getting that power out there as an enchantment to lay down. And it has a secret hidden ability. Well, it's not secret, it's written on the card, but a late game hidden ability, which is really useful, which is basically you pay 1 and 5. You exile target non-land permanent you don't control until Into the Trenches leaves the battlefield. So by turn 6, it is essentially a lockout card like Borrowed Time or any one of those like that. So it's essentially a secret Borrowed Time. You know, by the time that you can pay it again, you've always got that waiting, and they've always got to be the amount of nervous pressure that's going to put on other players, basically saying, man, he's got his In the Trenches out. He could activate this. You can only activate it as a sorcery and only once, but as an emergency backup, saying the person knowing, man, I don't want to play my Sheldred. He's just going to Into the Trenches it right away as soon as it drops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a little bit of trench fighting, a little bit of trench warfare. I like that they included weird kind of in the artwork and in the styling. They put weird kind of magical trench warfare, like World War I warfare. I don't know if you saw some of that. There was like over the top where there's like soldiers with like magic spears going over a wooden ladder over a mud trench. Like it's like they were attacking the Sami in 1916.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting art style. And interesting concept. Always putting that little bit of fear that whatever you put on the board, I'm getting pumped up, putting that little bit of fear onto the board that whatever I put out there can be locked out, any non-land permanent, and it might be hit. And don't forget, remember, it says it only can be activated once, but what happens when we get that Spellweaver, that Snake Spellweaver, what's his name? And you can trigger the effect of a enchantment twice.
Oh, Weaver of Harmony.
Weaver of Harmony, there we go, yeah. So now we're talking about Selesnya enchantments again, and we're saying, all right, well, I can only activate it once. What if I Weaver of Harmony of it, and I can do it twice? Okay, now we're starting to see some combo plays that we can do, and that's on top of the ability that it's giving 1/1 to everybody. You're probably running Wedding Announcement on top of it, so everyone's getting 2/2. You're running King Darien on top of that. Everyone's getting 3/3. You're really starting to see a lot of power go.
And people might say, hey, that's a little too... 6 mana is a little much. But, I mean, okay, then play this with Catilda and Catilda Humans.
Exactly.
And now it's, like, damn near free.
Exactly. Know? And also, I think it's supposed to... I think that you having that ability to play late in-game is critical, too. I think that kind of late aspect, though, it takes expensive. It's going to be late. It's going to be a late play. Well... I think it's supposed to be. I think you're not supposed to throw it out of your hand right away. It's supposed to kind of be an emergency backup. All of a sudden, somebody gets locked out. So,
I think it's that, and it's like, you know, hey, I almost have lethal, but that lifelink creature is in the way, or that double striker is in the way, or you know, they keep making creatures every turn with this planeswalker, and I can't get through enough to take them out. All right, well, we're just gonna. Whatever you need to get rid of, we're going to make you pay for it, but you're really going to sit here and assess how the game's going for you and say, okay, this is what needs to be gone. And getting rid of that is what's going to get me through for the damage I need to get it done. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So,
yeah, I think it's awesome. And then don't forget that 3 mana for an Anthem alone is already enough.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's typically what an Anthem costs.
That's what an Anthem costs. So it's just a charged up Anthem, solidly, pretty much overall.
Thus, justifying the fact that it's a mythic.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. And then what is it? A Jukai Naturalist, or is that what it is?
It'll make it cheaper.
Yeah. So it's gonna make it what? Just two planes now.
Yeah.
So you get your 2 mana Anthem, and then boom. So I think. What's cool about it is maybe it makes Selesnya enchantments like almost like go a different way, in a sense. If that makes you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it's not always gonna be that, you know, like spirit realm, whatever. Like maybe you go for In the Trenches instead now. You know, there's other things to consider. Did we need to give them more weapons? Maybe not. But the good news is that. The good news is that an Anthem fits in any kind of creature deck typically, so that's fine.
Absolutely. All right, it's time.
All right, let's do it.
Number one spot for Numbskull. You get the honors of opening it up.
All right, so this is going to be
unsurprising.
This probably not as surprising. You're probably wondering why we haven't talked about either of the brothers yet. And the one that I choose as my team, if you will, not going to be a surprise. You knew I wasn't going to pick Azorius colors and go Urza. So I'm team Mishra. Now,
Team
what I'm
Mishra.
doing is I'm not taking the Mishra that can be melded into the Lost to Phyrexia, the 9/9, that crazy
Dragon Engine one, yeah.
Yeah, that, I mean, do I think that card's awesome? Yeah, but I love what this gives you, and he's actually he's not that much text, but the two abilities that he has are rather important. The stats are fine. He can also be a commander, which is pretty cool. So, Mishra, Tamer of Makfawa. 3 colorless,
that's a good one.
Black and red. Legendary creature, human artificer. Permanents you control have ward, sacrifice a permanent, which I think is crazy. Now, I get it. We're generating power stones. You can just sack a power stone if you really had to get rid of something. But it's just the fact of, for me, forcing someone to 2-for-1 themselves is always, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's always important, and that just helps you win that battle of outvaluing someone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, you know what I mean? If you put it on all of your permanents, I think that is incredibly effective. If that wasn't enough, we're getting each artifact card in your graveyard has Unearth for 1 colorless, a black, and a red. So we're talking about those prototype creatures that we thought were too much mana. Well, now we can unearth them for 3. We're talking about reanimating whatever we want from the graveyard for the full, you know what I mean? Like the full actual like cost, in the sense of like what was the one we were looking at, that angel. So we can do that 6 mana now for just 3. So now we have a 3 mana 5/4 that has that static ability that we like so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have these huge creatures that you would have otherwise thought were too much mana.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about, okay, you get them for 3 now.
Yeah, out of the graveyard.
Out of the grave. Your opponent's going to want to remove stuff anyway. You know, maybe you're doing like some discard stuff. You're messing around with blood tokens.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that this is awesome. And I think that, and there's also, what is it? If you want to go Mardu, there's what's called Kami of Transmutation. Cards in your hand get, you can choose. You can make them all artifacts or make them all enchantments. Okay, well, everything's an artifact now, so everything has Unearth.
Mm-hmm.
Any creature, any planeswalker, any enchantment, even my lands, which I don't know how that would work, but we probably won't worry about that. If you want to go Mardu, you can make a Mardu deck in Alchemy and literally reanimate literally any permanent that you want for 3 mana.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just immediately get ideas, and when a card does that to me, it just has to be my best option. Not to mention sweet art, and this is me choosing my side. We're going Team Mishra.
Oh yeah, yeah. He teamed with the Phyrexians, which were mono black, so that's not surprising, Numbskull, that you chose the Phyrexian team there.
I'm kind of obligated.
Yeah. I think contractually obligated to choose the Phyrexians. So yeah, I think it's absolutely good. The ability that, listen, not everyone's going to be running Power Stones. I know you said that the sacrifice, everybody's got to sacrifice, but when you're running heavy removal on top of everything else, when you're really limiting, Ward is such a deadly ability, man. Ward is an absolutely,
great.
Just an absolutely deadly ability. Ward requiring that sacrifice from everybody. It's just dangerous. It's just absolutely dangerous.
Totally agree.
And if you're running self-mill, if you're running any kind of stuff, I think that overall, yeah, it's going to be an effective card. I think that the Dragon Engine one is a little bit pie in the sky. I think that it's going to be much more difficult to run than this thing. I think if there's going to be a Mishra card that's going to be popping up, it's going to be this one. It's absolutely going to be this one. So,
and one that stays on the board. Well,
yeah,
has a higher chance to stay on the board.
A higher survivability rate. Yeah.
That, you know, that flipped Mishra, the melded Mishra is just, Well, that's the card that gets all your removal. But what if I have a Shoulder It on turn 4 and then I do this on turn 5? Now you have to choose.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you want to get rid of either one, you have to sacrifice a permanent of your own.
Oh yeah.
So I think, I mean, maybe you run both Mishras, you know, so then you make the melded one harder to remove. Whatever, do your thing, man. If it works, it works. But yeah, I just think that it makes it very transformative. It's like a we're gonna call him a Ward Lord, if you will.
A Ward Lord, love it.
You like that?
Love it.
So there's your Ward Lord and your Unearth Daddy. So
Unearth Daddy. Yikes. Yikes.
The Ward Lord and the Unearth Daddy.
Oh my god.
And the Tamer of Makfawa.
Oh my goodness.
So this guy does a lot. This guy does a little bit of everything.
Oh wow.
So yeah, there you go. And he's a 4/4 is fine.
Yeah.
4/4 for 5 and all the abilities you get, it's fine. So yeah, this guy could really bring it home, especially when, like, okay, Oppo wants to use spot removal on your turn. You play him. Oh, well, I don't want to have to sacrifice a permanent. Okay, I'm going to use my removal. I have to use it right now because I can't afford to sacrifice a permanent.
Yeah.
So that means that we're once again influencing how the opponent plays, and we're getting that information before combat, which I think is important.
Yeah.
We influence how they block. We influence how they spend their mana. We get the cards out of their hand. It's important. You know what I mean? But then you make them waste their removal spell anyway. And now they have to get another one to get rid of your Mishra, and they have to sacrifice a permanent. So they got to still have a permanent after you're doing everything. So I think he just does so much, and he really just opens things up for what you can do, and he allows you to play your game.
Yeah.
With that ward ability and the Unearthed. So awesome card, I think.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to be running Rakdos with him.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet.
Yeah, solid card all around. So, for me, my ultimate, which I'm surprised, I thought you were going to grab it because, man, Painful Quandary. Holy heck.
That one, yeah. I wanted to leave some good black cards for you, man. You're welcome.
Painful Quandary. Holy heck.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little bit about Painful Quandary. I love Doom cards like this that just damned if you do, damned if you're going. I call them ABC, all bad choices.
I like that.
2 black, 3 regular, 3 colorless. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. If you don't have cards in your hand, you are not playing spells. It's as simple as that. Yo, yeah, I mean, you can play spells until you blow your own face off.
Yeah, you can play spells for like 3 turns.
Yeah, listen, if I'm running black, by the time I get to a 5-drop for this, your life's already way low. I've already been discarding you for
15.
Yeah. So even getting that ability, even getting the ability to draw more cards, you're going to have to be discarding cards to get it. Like, your hand is just going to be a sieve. It's just going to be like trying to hold just big handfuls of sand. It's just going to rip through you. That is a huge chunk to knock off. 5. And that's not, this is a regular enchantment. This is not a mythic enchant. This is not a legendary enchantment. Again, you could run Golgari and hit this effect multiple times. You could have multiple of these. You could ramp to it and get it out early. I think in Golgari.
You could storm the festival one of these and 2 of these into play theoretically.
Oh yeah, I mean you could do such terrible, awful things to people. Running this even in historic or running it in alchemy and running like the witches that give you the ability to run something like Cruel Reality or Trespasser's Curse.
Cruel Reality is ridiculous.
This in Cruel Reality, I mean, it's just game unless... And listen, nobody can destroy that many enchantments. I'm sorry. You're just not going to have that many enchantments. I'm looking at probably one of the decks, first couple of decks I'm going to build is going to be a Golgari enchantment. This is fun. This is pain. This is serious pain. Plus the artwork is absolutely sick.
Yeah, the artwork is dope.
Yeah, it's like... I think it's Gix ripping somebody's soul out of their head. So
It's ripping Mishra. Look at the flavor text.
Oh, I didn't even see my card that I'm looking at here doesn't even have flavor text on it.
Oh, here I can read the flavor text.
Please do.
We do lore stuff on this channel. The flavor text says, in Mishra's desperation to destroy his brother, he allowed Gix to destroy him instead. So it's like Gix taking Mishra's soul from his body,
probably ripping his sanity out of him.
Kind of like that. Yeah. And then that's where it's like the loss to Phyrexia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great, man. And what I immediately thought of, and this is something I mentioned earlier, what they brought back. I got to get to, these are organized by color for me. I got to scroll to the green ones here. The freaking Baloth, however you say it.
Baloth?
Obstinate Baloth.
Oh, okay.
When ETB, you gain 4 life. It's a 4-mana 4/4, but if a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard Obstinate Baloth, put it onto the battlefield instead of putting it into your graveyard.
Okay.
So I cast my spell, I discard Obstinate Baloth to not lose 5 life, and then boom, I have a 4/4.
Yeah, not bad.
So that's a little fun interaction. If someone does this against you, there's your way around it. Is it worth like building a deck around Obstinate Baloth? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible card. If you're really seeing that much discard, then so be it. Probably not worth building a deck around, but it's a fun little interaction.
Yeah. Well,
maybe like a little sideboard card if you see a lot of discard.
On the reverse, I love this Painful Quandary. I love to stack this with something like Graveyard Trespasser because she's functionally invincible unless you have cards to discard. Because
that's true. So you're making it so it's like, hey, do you want to have that extra card to remove my Graveyard Trespasser, or do you want to not die?
Exactly. So again,
but also my Graveyard Trespasser will kill you as well.
Yeah, it's because it's going to attack and eat everything that you've been discarding out of the graveyard, and if you try to cast a spell on it, you're going to have to discard a card for Graveyard Trespasser and Graveyard Quandary, so you're going to need 2 cards in your hand to discard to hit me with 1 removal, and then next turn you're not going to have any cards left. So that was 3 in 1 bang right there. Just to not.
It's basically like it's almost like you're cursing the opponent with ward on casting spells.
Yeah, basically any spell that, and it's not even spells against you. If they want to cast a creature, they're gonna have to discard a card.
Right. Yeah. Even if they want to advance their own board state, if they want to wipe the board, if they want to do this, that, whatever. I mean, imagine having Oppo plays a board wipe and eats the 5 life, and then you have like a Blood Artist out.
Exactly.
Like they wouldn't be able to do a board wipe.
No, they wouldn't. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a sick card. I wanted to leave you some good stuff because just so everybody knows, Jay has me pick first when we do this.
Yes.
So that we don't have any of the same cards.
Yes.
We'll give you a little behind the scenes tidbit there.
But we do have one card.
Go ahead.
We do have one card that we both picked, and that was the Master card.
It organically, that we're like, hey, dude, this thing is freaking crazy.
Yes. This is card 0. This is the card that's going in every deck that we ever build ever, no matter what, even if it doesn't belong there. So I'll let you introduce card 0, the ultimate.
You want me to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even. Hold on. Let me scroll up a little bit. I'll give you a hint. It's an artifact, guys.
Oh.
So we can't let this go, and this is immediately going to pair with the Mishra card that I gave you, and immediately going to be. And I wanted to say so bad what I wanted to unearth with Mishra, but obviously I couldn't because I didn't want to spoil this. But Phyrexian Flesh Gorger, 7 mana, 7/5, Menace, Lifelink, Ward, pay life equal to Phyrexian Flesh Gorger's power. Can be prototyped for a colorless and 2 black as a 3/3, which is also fine because a 3 mana 3/3 Menace, Lifelink, Ward, pay life equal to this creature's power is more than enough. So this is a 3-drop. You can make an argument that this is better than a Graveyard Trespasser, especially if you're like going aggro.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you don't need the Graveyard Trespasser to eat the graveyard. Now it's ward pay 3 life.
Mm-hmm.
And you force them to remove it.
And
not to mention what's right before turn, or what turn is right after that. Theoretically, if you're on curve, you're playing Sholdred the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just had to burn my removal that I hoped to save for Sholdred, and I had to lose 3 life over.
Mm-hmm. I also like
Infernal Grasp. I lost 5 life. You know, it's crazy.
I also really like the nice curve of a turn 2 Kumano and hitting this guy with the turn 1 Kumano, then the turn 2 Kumano effect, making him a 4/4 coming in.
Oh yeah, that's
if you're running Rakdos,
a little Rakdos aggro, and then you drop like you drop that good Rajusi on him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Got to drop that Phyrexian. Coincidentally, Phyrexian Flesh Gorger is what they call me at the all-you-can-eat buffet.
There you go. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, that's why they don't let me at the hibachi buffet anymore. They don't let me go there anymore.
Yeah, I think it's a sweet card. Cool art.
With ridiculous menace and lifelink and the ability to drop it. I mean, the fact that it, even if you resolve it as a 7, it's a 7 power, meaning you have to pay 7 life to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Just oof. It's a tall
Facing
order.
This on the draw is like giving me like baby Eldrazi vibes for like how much pressure it puts on you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It is so effective. It's versatile. Reanimation makes this ridiculous, you know. Mishra makes this pretty sweet. I you know what? I really wish that Deadly Dispute was still in. But I guess there's there's Reckoner's Bargain, so that's not bad. Well, actually, hell, Reckoner's Bargain on this dude gain 7 life when you sack it.
Yeah.
Like if you unearth it for 3, swing for all the damage in the world, and you're gonna sack it on the end step, so you actually just Reckoner's Bargain it and gain 7 more life after you already gained 7 from the lifelink.
Or hey, bring out our old friend Obnixilis before it's sacked.
Oh, dude! Now you're talking. I like that. I like that.
Boom.
So don't think the unearth is bad, so to speak. There's ways around it. Rakdos gives you tools to sacrifice things. Racksec, it is a thing. You got your Obnixilis. You got sacrifice spells. In alchemy, you have in alchemy you have Deadly Dispute. Equally, you have Reckoner's Bargain even in standard. That's your standard spell to sacrifice artifacts and creatures. You don't get the treasure, you still draw, but now you gain life equal to the mana value. The mana value of this card is 7. Pay 2 mana, draw 2 cards, gain 7 life. When you already had to sack this to begin with. I think that's good enough to say that you could run a couple Reckoner's Bargain in your deck for these purposes, so yeah, I think some of the stuff that we're going to be able to do is just so fun. I am excited for it. I think Rakdos is going to be sick.
Rakdos is Rakdos coming up again.
I know that we made that Rakdos deck, that we kind of put the theory crafting of that one with Ob and Sholdred.
Yeah.
And
way back when.
Shakedown Heavy, and you do the ult, and you turn, what is it we say, like turn 5 lethal,
turn 5 ultra ult,
yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's awesome. This isn't this is arguably just because I get it. Doing that was a little it was a little Winmori. It was cute. It's a meme, Yeah, it's effective. It kills them, but this is just more like you're just like daunting your opponent. It's not even like a hey, I win now. It's like a do you give up yet?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just suffering. It's pure suffering.
Which is like the nature of the Phyrexians.
Oh yeah.
If you don't submit to them. So it's almost like asking your opponent, like, hey, do you say uncle yet?
Exactly. And I love that.
Do we need a safe word? Do we need a safe word?
Yeah, I love that that ability. That I love when the mechanics of the card go very along lightly with the stories of the card. That when vampire decks act like vampires, when they drain life out of you, and zombie decks swarm and bite you to death, you want to see. I love to see that. The Vorthos in me says, Yeah, the deck should act like the thing that it's imitating. So to see
Yeah.
Phyrexians just grind people down with life loss is just fantastic. Love to see it.
It should make them want to submit to you.
Oh yeah, you just want to give up.
And so he just, I think the Flesh Gorger really captures the essence of being a Phyrexian. So I think it's phenomenal. I think it's a hell of a card. I think there's plenty of ways to cheat out this thing. You know, what is the one, fight rigging? Imagine hitting this off of a fight rigging. Ridiculous. You know, so there's ways to cheat this out. There's ways to unearth it. There's reanimation, this, that, whatever. Just all kinds of stuff, man. So I think it's incredibly effective.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. And even if you can only manage to get it on the prototype for a 3/3 with all the aforementioned abilities, it is just
it's fantastic.
It's in some instances it's arguably better to do it for the prototype 3 because you're putting that pressure on them. You know, turn forward, they have to either figure out if they're going to deal with it or just eat that damage and let you gain 3 every turn.
Exactly, and it's menacing too, right? Yeah.
It's menace, yeah. So they gotta have.
So you gotta have extra blockers.
Yep. Influencing how they attack.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the play, this is just like a hell of a start. It is so difficult to deal with if the opponent is on the draw. They're gonna lose 5 life to effectively deal with this card. As far as I know, the only other thing I could think of is Cast Down in Alchemy. Would allow them to kill this for 2 mana and not pay the extra 2 life, but they're still paying 3. I guess the only other thing I can think of is Void Rend.
Yeah.
With Esper, because that's going to get around the ward. But that's fine. You used your Void Rend on that. I still got my Trespasser. I still got my Sholdred. I still got Mishra's coming. You know, I do think that Mishra makes Void Rend that much more viable too, though.
It does.
It actually might make Void Rend the best removal in the game.
Well, I mean, run blue and run Fade Out the Back.
Oh, slip out the back?
Yeah, slip out the back. Or a Hexproof.
A little Grixis action?
Or run in Golgarian, run Tameo Safekeeping.
Yeah, you can put the safekeeping on there. Yeah, why not? Why not? So I think there's... Yeah, we have ways to protect ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
We already know that Grixis is, I mean, arguably the best standard deck. It did win a world championship.
Yes.
So... that's arguably already crazy. I don't know if that shell just immediately slaps Mishra in there, but you could make an effective deck for. And I mean, okay, so that deck runs Fable. Imagine copying this thing with Fable. It's not a legendary.
No, yeah, multiply it.
Even just in Rakdos. Okay, I have red.
Yeah, especially going in with multiple 7 menacers. Just. Ugh. Yeah,
that's so ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
What's the best 3-drop in the game? Well, Fable's the best 3-drop in the game, and you're already playing red, so
might as well.
Here you go. Just
Rakdos on a come up right now, man. All around. Rakdos absolutely popping.
I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love
and
Rakdos.
What I like about it is it's not Rakdos Anvil. I don't mind Rakdos Anvil.
I'm just tired of it.
Mid-range player. Yeah, it's just you saw my tweet the other day when I got the 7-2 with the Rakdos mid-range and Alchemy. It's just too many micro decisions and micro this, micro that for me. And it's like that Goosebumps book. If you make the wrong choice, then you have this ending.
Go back to the start. Yeah, the bad ending. Choose your own adventure. Yeah,
it's just too much. So I much more appreciate. I much more appreciate the mid-range aspect of it. I believe it allows me to cover more of my bases.
Okay.
And instead of just, I'm gonna ping you to death. One, and hope that it's enough. And it's just, I don't know. A 7/5 Menace Lifelinker and War just speaks to me way more than,
of course,
than Oni Cult Anvil does.
And again, we're running Historic, run Veto on it. That's a big hit.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be something else.
Terrible hit.
Oh, it's gonna be so fun. That's gonna be so fun. I love it.
Absolutely. So, that being said, we have talked about our favorite 11 cards. Y'all got a bonus card. that's what we're looking at going forward for Brothers War. We're going to be there live with all the coverage Tuesday. Follow me on Twitch. I'm going to be doing a live daily on it. I'm going to be doing a 100-pack opening. What are you going to be doing, Numbskull, for the launching of Brothers War?
Is that when it comes out? Is it? I think it's a Thursday, isn't
it? It comes out Tuesday. It comes out the 15th.
On Arena.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
I'm going to have to do a day stream, dude.
Brothers War release.
Release date?
November 15th, worldwide. And then the 18th is the worldwide.
Oh, they're giving us a couple extra days.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we're going to have some Tuesday streams and like during because they usually drop those about 11 a.m. when there's the new set.
Yeah. Oh, it depends if the whole server crashes and they put bugs in the game that make it not work.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But theoretically, at least in the afternoon. So yeah, morning/afternoon stream. Get ready for your late shows to have maybe a double stream that day.
I'll definitely be double streaming. Yeah,
I'll have to double stream probably. And once again, we're not going to dwell on it too much. But once again, neither of us got early access. That's
nope, neither of us. Did you apply?
But that is. I actually didn't apply this time. I won't lie. I actually didn't see. I usually see somebody post about the window to do it. And I didn't see anybody post about it this time, so I kind of just forgot. I had some other stuff going on, and it just kind of slipped my mind. I just never did, and it's all right, whatever. But yeah, we didn't get that, and that's fine. Whatever. But this is that'll be our chance to kind of get ahead of it and really make some cool stuff. See how it goes. I will probably be doing a bunch of play-in events because I'm already in Mythic and I don't want to risk losing my rank on trying things that I don't know if they're going to work. So I'll probably be doing a bunch of standard play-in events, alchemy play-in events, maybe some explorer play-in events, and maybe Jay will just speed run to Mythic because he's going to make a crazy mission.
Oh, yeah. If the shuffler ain't going to have that.
Maybe the shuffler maybe these artifacts are what Jay needed to finally deal with this painful shuffler.
Oh, I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm gonna make a push. I got to Mythic last season, the last day, but I still did it. I mean,
hey, nothing wrong with it.
So it's just a matter of grinding. I'm not a grinder, man. I get bored.
No, it's totally understandable. I was getting a little sick of playing mono black when I got there this season, but I just had the what do you call it? The light at the end of the tunnel of getting my highest rank ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic.
16.
Good job,
man. Got to 16 this season, so I was happy about it. It was pretty legit. So that was the only reason I really wanted to grind. But I will admit, at kind of towards the end, I was like, man, I wish I had another deck that had as good of a win rate because I would totally switch right now.
Yeah.
But hey, mono black 70% win rate.
Oh yeah, that's what it takes.
Hey, that's what gets it done.
That's what gets it done. That's what works, man.
Hell yeah.
Well,
but yeah,
we will leave it there.
Call you guys for. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, go for it. Talk. What you guys
I was going to say we want to thank everybody for sticking around. If you made it this far, we didn't bore you to death. So glad you're here. Thank you to anybody who's clicked the play button at all. If you're in the live premiere, we really appreciate you guys showing up for that. The live premiere for us is we think it's important. It's kind of a good gauge of what people think of the episode if they're at face value, if they're immediately interested. So we always like to see you guys show up for that and interact with you there. So thank you so much. Thank you to all of our patrons. Don't forget, you can join for as little as 1 monetary unit per month.
$1, 99 cents even if you want.
99 cents even. 99 100ths of a given monetary unit. So we're talking about rubles. We're talking about pesos. We're talking about, they might make you do 10 pesos or whatever. I don't
know what the conversion rate is.
Like 10 or 100. I don't know. They might make you throw in some extra pesos, but the equivalent of $1 right around there, $1 US is the bare minimum. You can join the council. You can see extra gameplay when Jay and I make decks on the podcast. You can interact with us in the Discord that only council members can get. We do have, a good bit of stuff that you get for even just $1, and we're only going to add more stuff to it, and we're not going to raise that price.
No.
So,
once we get to 20, we're gonna run a tournament.
Yeah, we're working on getting towards enough members to do a tournament here, so we are incredibly excited to do that. And yeah, we need 8 more of you. So
pretty much,
yeah, 8 more, and enough stick around for that long. We're at 12 right now. Enough stick around long enough to say, okay, we consistently have 8 or 20. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll run a tournament. You guys will be able to play against us, play against one another. We'll get a little round robin action going. Maybe give out some prizes, give out maybe some packs or codes, whatever. Something to incentivize it. We'll make it worth your while. It'll be fun rewards. So yeah, we really appreciate you guys being here.
Absolutely.
And we are more than interested in knowing what is your top 5. You don't have to give us all 5.
Oh yeah.
Just any card that you're incredibly excited about. Do you like our top 5? Do you have a deck idea from the cards that we listed today that maybe we didn't even think about yet, and maybe just a fun interaction that we didn't think about, that these cards that we mentioned on the podcast for this episode may create? We would love to hear it. We'd love to hear from you. It is the council, so join us in any discussion, and we will be happy to talk with you.
For sure, man. We want to hear about it. We want to hear those comments. We want to hear what you think.
And and let us know what you think of the top 10. Let us know if you are interested in any other cards, because there's a ton of cards here, and like we said, Jay and I don't cover all of them, and that's okay. There's you go to magicspoiler.com, you can see all the cards that we were looking at. This is not an advertisement, that's just what we use. I think Jay and I use the same thing. It's just the first Google result. So yeah.
And that being said, I think we'll call this meeting of the Black Council to a close.
Let's do it.
We'll see you guys on the ladder. Until next time.
Take care, guys.
I've been Jay Villainy. He's been Numbskull. There's our Twitches. Adios, everyone. Good night.
See ya.